Today we are making Korean milk bread called 우유식빵. It is fluffy, airy, slightly sweet, and highly addictive. I'm also going to show you how to make milk bread dinner rolls. Korean milk bread is a delightful snack with butter and jam and a glass of cold milk, iced coffee, or a hot cup of joe. Hi everyone, this is Helen and welcome to Modern Pepper. 안녕하세요 여러분, Modern Pepper의 헬렌입니다. So for those of you that are new to Modern Pepper channel offers instructional Korean cooking lessons for authentic Korean dishes as well as Korean fusion dishes. So please to consider subscribing. 맛있는 한식 요리와 한식 퓨전 요리를 여러분들과 영어로 함께 하겠습니다. 구독 버튼 꼭 눌러주세요. So I am super duper excited for today's recipe. We are making milk bread, and that's Korean milk bread because I know many people think that it's Japanese milk bread, and maybe it is, but I'm not arguing here. But Korean milk bread called 우유식빵. 우유 means milk. 식빵 means loaf of bread. So all kids, including myself, grew up eating 우유식빵. So I don't know. I think it's very, very Korean. And any Korean bakery you go to, 우유식빵 is a staple that they always have. And this 우유식빵, if you've never had it, it's airy, it's fluffy, it is just so yummy. Like you can't stop eating it. To start with, we need 4 cups of flour, and bread flour is highly recommended because it comes out, extra airy and extra fluffy. But if you don't have bread flour, all-purpose flour is fine. It comes out a little bit more dense, but I think it's just as delicious, and I make this all the time. Now, if you don't have one of these gadgets, just use a fork, it'll do. And use your hands to kind of mix up the butter pieces. And then create like a mountain around it. And then make a little hole in the middle. It's messy. Now make sure to stir it first. Then we're gonna add our thermometer and make sure it comes up to somewhere between 100 and 115 degrees. So I'm using instant yeast, and I have a tip on storing yeast in general. I have it in a small bag. So the rest of the packaging, I have it double wrapped in an airtight container. And this is just for me a small portion that I'm going to be going in and out using a lot. And then you put it in the freezer. This will help the longevity and make sure your yeast is not contaminated and it stays fresh. We're going to add a little bit of our warm milk and water into our little hole over here. And then we're going to add 2 1/4 teaspoon of instant yeast. We're gonna go in and mix. So we're gonna just let this hang out for like 60 seconds. Now Now, when it comes to flour and water amount, it will vary depending on how hot or how dry or how cold your kitchen is. And certainly the altitude will have a huge effect on that. So if you are at sea level versus super high up in the mountains, all that's going to come into play. So for me, when I make this recipe, the liquid amount that's perfect for the dough consistency that we're looking for, it's always around 1 1/3 cup. And for you, it could be less than that or it could be more than that. So keep that in mind. We're gonna first mix this into our dough and just continue adding little by little. Then scrape off your fork. It's time to get really messy. Go in with your hands. And right now, this should feel warm. It's like warm dough that you're squeezing. It's kind of nice. It's very comforting. So mix it really well for about good 2 to 3 minutes, just to make sure that the liquid has sort of distributed well. And as you can see, we need a little more liquid. So what I'm gonna do is kind of flatten this out and then kind of poke it with my fingers like so, and add a little bit more, not all of it. And then you kind of go in again and fold it down and then work it again for like good 2 to 3 minutes until all the liquid has kind of distributed well and your dough feels nice and wet, but not too wet. All right, so put your dough on a clean surface. This does not need any dusting. If it's so wet that you need to dust it, then you added too much liquid, but it's wet. It's wet in my hands, so if I go like this, I feel it. If you drop it on your kitchen counter, there shouldn't be any residue. And if there is, just a little bit, but it should have a clean surface. So that's the consistency we're looking for. It's time for gun show. But obviously I don't have any guns, so. But I have ajumma muscles. What is that? Well, ajumma means loosely translated housewife or someone of a certain age that's also married. And we're just known for being notoriously like strong and, you know, everything that's great, that's what it means. I don't know, I'm just kidding, but not really actually. Get your phone, set the timer to 8 minutes, and we're gonna start kneading. And we're gonna put this on the counter and let it sleep, let it take a nap. We want this to double in size, or maybe a little bit more than double its size. How long will depend on literally your kitchen. It could take 45 minutes. For some of you, it could take an hour and a half maybe. So just keep an eye on it and make sure you put a towel underneath it and over it, and make sure it's away from the heat and away from the sun. When you poke it with your finger like this, the hole should not bounce back. That's how you know it's ready. So here's another one, and it's not bouncing back. So now you could have fun and get your children involved, and they could start poking. So James, did you wash your hands like I asked you to?
Yes.
When?
This morning.
Oh, all right, that's enough. push out all the air. And then we're going to cut this into 3 equal sections. I'm going to push this out. Just make sure all the air is gone. And then pick it up and just roll and tuck, roll and tuck, roll and tuck. Like that, make it into a shape of a ball, like that. And then we're going to put it down here and using this part, kind of push and turn. Like so, push and turn. Like that. And we're going to place it on the side. And just continue doing the rest of these 2 round balls. So here's our second piece, and we're going to cut them into 8 equal parts. So half down the middle, half down the middle. Press it down again to deflate all the air. Pick it up and just tuck and press, tuck and press, tuck and press until we have a round ball. So we're gonna shape it using this part right here. So you press and turn, press and turn, press and turn like that. So it turns into this really pretty ball. And just continue doing the rest with the other 7 sections that we have left. And we're gonna cover it with a towel so it snuggles, and we're gonna wait for this to double in size. All right, so we are almost there. So let's check on our babies that have been napping again for the second time. Oh, they look really good, really good. These have literally doubled in size. And our dinner rolls right here. I have about a tablespoon of room temperature butter, and we're just gonna coat the interior of our pan. The loaf pan that we're using is 11 by 6. And for our dinner rolls, I'm using a small baking pan that's 12 by 8 inches. So this is our dinner roll. We're just gonna press it down, take a rolling pin and flatten it out. Again, to deflate all the air, final time. And I just want to show you the consistency. At this point, it should be so smooth that you could stretch it and kind of mold it into this shape. So we're just gonna tuck and press, tuck and press. So just press it down a couple more times and then tuck and press, tuck and press. And then shape it into a ball. Again, you could shape it with this hand kind of pushing and turning like that. And then we put it in our pan. So this is our last one. And then we deflate it with our hands and use a rolling pin to flatten it out more. You want to press it out so it's almost double the width of your loaf pan. And then we're going to fold this over down the middle like so. Gently pat it down, pull this up a little bit, pull the other end up a little bit, and bring this over to meet it halfway. Pull the ends down. And then we're going to pick this up, and then we're just going to kind of pull it here and push it down once right here, and then roll it like that. And then you want to just pinch it. And this will be the bottom, so turn it over carefully. With the roll side facing sideways, we're going to put this one in the middle. So this is our last one. Cover it with saran wrap. Cover it with a towel. And we're going to let these guys rest so it doubles in size again. Oh, these guys look ready. Look at that. That's the height you want, about an inch above the rim of your loaf pan. And let's take a look at this one. Ooh, these are gonna be like your homemade Hawaiian rolls, but better. Oh, we got a little hole there, but that's okay. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So place it on a baking sheet. We also need an egg for our egg wash. Whip it for a good 15 seconds. So right before we put these guys in the oven, we're gonna put our egg wash on it. Make sure all the surface on top is covered. And the same thing for our dinner rolls. Oh, look at that bubble. Make sure your shelf is in the middle, and we'll come back to it in about 25 minutes to 28 minutes. All right, so it's about halfway through and it smells so good in here. It smells sweet and wonderful. So it's never a good idea to open the oven, but we're gonna do this quickly to rotate our bread. So right now the color is golden brown, and we wanna cook this a little bit longer so that the exterior looks like dark milk chocolate. Ooh la la, look at that. I mean, this smells so good. And we're gonna quickly take it out of the pan. Ooh. And our dinner rolls as well. Take it out of the pan and turn it over. Now, it's really important that you take the bread out of the pan as soon as possible, because if you leave it in there, it's gonna steam and turn into soggy bread. Like, who wants to eat that, right? I would let this cool down to room temperature before I dive into this delicious loaf of bread. I want to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click on that thumbs up icon. Thank you. 여러분 오늘 재밌게 보셨으면 꼭 좋아하는 버튼 눌러주세요. So I will see you in the spicy grilled cheese video. And also check out these other videos you see right here. So I will see you in the next video.